Okay, muchachos, this video we're going to talk about AR verbs in the preterite tense. So now we'll be able to change them and talk about things that have already happened. So when we did them in the present tense, we had verbs like hablar, and you change it to hablo or hablas. So this is my stem. So this tells me what the action is. I know that because of this, it's going to be talk or speak, and O tells me who and when. So I know that's the present tense. It's happening right now, and the who is the I. So this is really, so I'm going to put this up here. This really means I talk, okay? Well, oh geez, just no E there. All right, now if I change the ending, if I leave the stem the same, let me change this. And so I still have habla, that's still my stem. I still know it's talk. But if I change my ending to hablé, now I haven't changed who it is. It's still I, but I did change when it happened, right? So now this is my preterite ending, meaning the past. This has already happened. So we got to change that to I talked. If I change this to hablaste, so if I can fit that in there, I also changed who it is, but not when, right? Because that's also a predicate, but now it means you. So you talked, okay? If I go back to the present tense, habla. Now I've changed not only who, but when it happened. Oh, I forgot my L. So this is either going to be you talk, or he or she talks. So notice my stem didn't change at all. It didn't change for any of those. But as I change my ending, I change who it is that's talking and when they're talking, either now or in the past. Okay, so let's go over my endings. My steps are still the same to conjugate, right? We went over those steps when we did the present tense, where we remove the two-letter ending, identify the subject, and add the ending. So these, we need to just go over the chart of endings for my AR verbs in the preterite, okay? So here we go. So if I'm talking about myself, I'm going to say and I need an accent. So we have hablé, is I talked. Busqué, I looked for. Compré, I bought. So as I change that ending, or as I use this A with the accent as an ending, I did something in the past, okay? And then as I change the stem, we can change what that action was. The to form is haste. The L or A is O with an accent. That's a little weird because remember the O has always been up here at the yo form. But because of the accent, that tells me it's he or she, or the usted form in the past. But notice the difference here. So if I say hablo, that's I talk. If I say hablo, then that's he or she talked. So on this one, my voice goes up on the hablo, hablo, and over here it goes up on the O, hablo. Okay, so a slight difference. We don't deal a lot with that emphasis in English, so it's kind of hard to hear sometimes, but it does make a difference in who it is and when it happened. Over here we have amos, which is the same as our present tense verb. So how do we know if hablamos, if it means we talk like it's happening now, or we talked, it already happened? Well, you have to get context clues, because a lot of times there'll be other words like ayer hablamos con el maestro. So yesterday we talked. Okay. If we're gonna say today we talk, then again, context clues will let you know if it's present or past. Okay. And then the last one is Aaron. So hablaron, they talked, or you guys talked. Okay. Okay. So those are my basic endings. Now, here's an issue we run into with AR verbs, with some of them, not all of them. It's because we have this E, and the E does weird things to our consonants, just like it does in Spanish. So for example, we have cat, right? Because this is an A, this is the hard C sound. Or we have coat. the O also makes that a hard C sound. But the I and the E, like city and Caesar, Cesar, we'll say that in Caesar, okay? This I and this E, I really couldn't think of a word that had C-E. Cease, there we go. Like cease and desist. All right, so this E, this changes the C to an S sound. All right, so in Spanish, when we're dealing, sometimes we have some verbs where this E is going to change the sound that the consonants make, and we want to keep it the same. All right, so let's talk about those real quick. All right, and it's just with the yo form, right? The rest of these have A's and O's, and so we don't need to worry about them. They're not going to change my consonants. All right, so the only verbs we have to worry about are the verbs that end in car, verbs that end in gar, and verbs that end in sar. Okay? So let's say, for example, we have the verb marcar. When you're talking about sports, it means to score, but it really means to mark, like to tally, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So marcar, it could also mean to make a mark, like a check mark. So if you want to say I scored or I marked something, you would use your stem, right? Take off the AR, and then you would add your yo ending. The problem is that when you have this combination of the consonant C with the vowel E, it changes this to the S sound. So now you have Marseille. This is pronounced Marseille, and we don't want it to say Marseille. We want to keep this hard C sound that we had in our infinitive. So we want to keep all the sounds the same. So we want it to say marqué, marcaste, marcó, marcamos, marcaron. That's what we want. But this one, because of this E, is changing the C. So we have to do a spelling change here. And we have to change this C to a QU. Okay? So we'll do this on a little chart here. So the car, we're going to change the C to a QU. And so my ending then will be K. So for the yo form, instead of CE, I didn't really write that one down. I'm going to do QUE. So it's going to be Marqué and not Marseille. Okay? Okay, so car changes to K. Gar, so I'm going to take my G. If I don't change it, it's going to change to an H sound. So all I have to do, that one's easy. I just have to add a U in there. So my ending will be gay. Okay? Otherwise, you would have the verb like llegar. And if you just change the AR ending to an A, you'd have this E would make this the H sound, so it would be ye hey. So that's why we have to add the U in to make it say ye gay. Okay? I arrived. Yo ye gay. All right. And then the zar, the Z, we're going to change to a C. Otherwise, this Z is going to be more like a Z sound. We want it to be more like a S sound. So it would be se. So I'm sure you've seen that before where you have car, gar, sar, ke, ge, se. Okay? So that's a little spelling change you have to make. And it's only yo form. None of the other forms need to make this spelling change. Only the yo form. And that's because of that eh. Only the yo form. Okay? The rest of the forms are fine. All right. I think that's it on AR verbs in the preterite.